So Providence wasn't the only top 10 team to lose Tuesday night. Kentucky did too. Final score, Tennessee 76, UK 63 inside Thompson Bowling Arena. The big storyline beyond UT's win is that Ty Washington once again had to leave the game before it was over, seemingly bothered by what's been described as an ankle injury. Dead leg, if you're a Kentucky fan, forget the loss, whatever. They still got an incredible resume. They're still in play for maybe a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. If you're a Kentucky fan, are you concerned, starting to get concerned that this is just going to be an issue March?
Maybe potentially. Obviously I didn't see a second of this game. This ran up against PC Nova going in the 8 to 10 window. Kentucky went 9 to 11. Then I was doing interviews and all that after. So I didn't see any of this. But yeah, obviously that would be a concern. And I checked in on Wednesday morning just to see how the game went, and Tennessee wins with ease, which is, a really good sign for that team. And Kennedy Chandler apparently had a really good game. But Ty Washington and his health, I do think it's about as important as any other player. Oscar Tshiebwe is right in the mix, front-run National Player of the Year. If you want to say it's now Johnny Davis after what Johnny Davis did against Indiana, I'm absolutely willing to listen to that, because in many ways what Johnny Davis does, and I was talking with our buddy Rob Doster about this the other day, Johnny Davis is more of a traditional MVP candidate. His value, I think, overall probably supersedes Oscar Tshiebwe's immense value, but Johnny Davis has more of the characteristics of what we consider an MVP. Now, college basketball doesn't have MVP. It's National Player of the Year, usually best player on one of the best teams in the country, and that's still Oscar Tshiebwe. He had 13 points, 15 boards, continues to put up really good numbers, but I think that Ty Washington, if Tshiebwe is 1A in terms of importance, Ty is 1B. I think it is that close, and I think there's something to be said. It kind of gets back to what we just talked about with Gillespie. What objective are you trying to reach here? If Ty Washington's health is paramount to Kentucky having viability once we get into March in the NCAA tournament, and we think this is a national championship contender, then did he need to play last night on the road? I think that's a fair question to ask. Only Kentucky, its trainers, coaching staff, they can truthfully answer whether that was worth that risk. But I'm looking at the box score. I mean, he played 12 minutes, shot 1 of 2 from the field. They were both 3-pointers, had 3 turnovers, 3 assists, and that's it. And then he said he had to leave with another injury tweak there. So I don't know. Again, it's all about what he feels he can do, should do. Kentucky has Alabama this Saturday. That's a home game. Then another home game against LSU. But you got to kind of look bigger picture here. Kentucky can win without Ty in the short term. Obviously, in the bigger picture, you want him available when we get to March there. So something to at least keep an eye on. But I do want to at least give Tennessee their shine. You can speak more to what actually happened in the game because I didn't see it. But for Tennessee to get that win, now 10th at KenPom as we speak this morning, the Vols have won 5 in a row and have won 8 of their past 9. The only loss by 1 point in that really wretched of a watch at Texas SEC Big 12 Challenge to end January. So a little bit quietly here, Rick Barnes has actually got this team not just playing well, but really tracking toward a respectable seed. Vols' losses have come against Villanova, Texas Tech and OT, Alabama on the road, LSU on the road, Kentucky on the road, Texas on the road. Doesn't have a home loss yet this season, and they are now shaping more into what you said they would be in the preseason. Potentially top 2 team in the SEC. They look the part there, and I think that's a really cool, fun, interesting thing. And because they got that much talent, just keep an eye on them. I don't want to say they're under the radar, Parrish, because that's not the case, but they just haven't received as much attention, pub, and love. Maybe beating Kentucky changes that. They'll go on the road this weekend, will Tennessee, and play at Arkansas.
Yeah, I think winning last night in a game against Kentucky does change that. It makes not me, like I take a close look at this stuff every day, but it makes a casual college basketball fan go, oh, so what's Tennessee been up to? Oh, wow, 8-1 in the past 9, lone loss in that stretch, a 1-point loss at Texas. They might be pretty good. And I know you didn't see it because you were at Providence. I don't know how often you peek at the comments here, but I don't want you to be misled by one. Somebody in the comments said that Tennessee got lucky on Tuesday night.
I'm sorry.
That's not what
they won by 13.
Yeah. No, and they were up by 20. They didn't get lucky. They beat their brains in. Like they ended the game in the first half. The Kentucky strength coach, you don't see this every day. Got a technical foul.
I did see that kind of stray across my timeline on Twitter. I didn't see the video, but apparently he was yapping back at somebody. But yeah, I saw it.
So he gets a technical foul, and then Tennessee goes on a 17-1 run immediately to take control of the game. It basically ended right there. Kennedy Chandler, my little homie from Memphis, he got 17 points, 6 assists. He was 3 of 5 from 3. Even John Calipari said afterwards, like, they punked us. Like, they punched us and we didn't punch back, and we got to, own it. Don't make excuses for it. Just own it. Like, hey, we got beat and punked, and we've got to be better than that. And I'm certain, like, I don't have any long-term concerns about Kentucky as a basketball team other than the health of the roster, because that's a real thing. It appears like Ty has been banged up for a while now, just bothered by one thing or another. And John Calipari said last night after the game that he wishes he would not have played him. He said, quote, if I had it to do over, I would not play Ty. I shouldn't have played him. I asked him twice, why don't you just step back? He said, I can do this. Then I was not going to play him in the second half, and I did. I called him in, and he said, I can do it. I should have just gone with my gut. And what's interesting about that is when I was on sideline for the Kentucky-Auburn game earlier this season when he got hurt, if you remember my initial report, because I was standing right next to the bench, he was with the training staff right after he came out of that game, and he was telling them, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. And so my initial report was Ty Washington is being checked on by the training staff, but he is indicating to them that he's okay. And then, of course, he never came back in. And I think that starts to speak to who this guy is. Like, he's just going to tell you he could play because he wants to try to play. And then it becomes the responsibility of the training staff and the coaching staff to make the right decision. I think they did clearly at Auburn by not allowing him to return to the game. By John Calipari's own admission last night, they didn't make the right call here. And when he was on the court for like 13 minutes before he left for good, he was not good. He had 4 points, 3 turnovers. He looked like an unhealthy player trying to play through something he probably shouldn't be trying to play through. And Severe Wheeler, by the way, also left the game very late, holding his wrist at this moment. No idea if it's something that'll even show up in the next game, but it's so much of basketball, not just college basketball, but in the NBA as well. Championships and people who advance, it's dictated by injuries. Like the NBA playoffs every year has wild injuries that create opportunities for some teams and ruin opportunities for others. And the same is true in college basketball. Like, what would Villanova have been last season if Colin Gillespie doesn't suffer a season-ending knee injury? Oh, by the way, like, is Colin Gillespie even back in school this season if he didn't suffer a season-ending knee injury last season? Like, would that whole thing have gone down differently last night? Injuries are obviously like a real big deal in all sports. And if you are Kentucky right now and you've been dealing with a banged up Ty Washington for a little while now, I think you do start to get concerned. Like, is he ever going to be 100% healthy again this season so that we can go where our talent and ability and resume suggests we're capable of going?